Good evening and welcome. My name's Bill Banks-Jones, welcoming you to Tete the Opera Festival, broadcasting live from the Cockpit Theatre on Cockpit Broadcasting. I have a couple of things to say to you before the show actually begins. The first is how all of our artists have been through the ringer this year, like everybody has everywhere. But the process of getting a live festival for a live audience together has been extraordinary. Usually you know pretty much exactly what everybody's going to do by about March. This year we began to start slapping them around and changing them in March. So everything has been turned inside out and upside down. And it's worth bearing that in mind when you watch the show. Persephone's dream, unlike most of the others, is not something that was adapted to fit COVID regulations and all that, but grew out of lockdown. As you'll see, it's very clear in the piece. The people in it barely ever met. They all worked in a way, in remotely. I was part of that process. It was fascinating. It was wonderfully open sourced at the beginning, and it was a real pleasure to bring it to a live audience. There's nothing like that. When you hear the applause at the end, it's amazing. The Cockpit Theatre is rather quiet and bleak now without an audience in it. That leads me to the second thing that I need to say, which is since our pilot with the DCMS for reopening theatre, we've been working with the Paul Hamlin Foundation on a bigger scale to help the whole theatre sector reopen. And to that end, we'll send you all a questionnaire after this performance. We'd really, really appreciate your responses to that. Third thing to say, the way this is an interactive broadcast, the interaction comes after the film when if you type questions into the chat, then I will ask them of the panel who created the show. There'll also be some other malarkey going on in the chat, questions that Tanya will be asking you that get fed into something else at the end, I think, though I'm not sure I understand it fully myself. Fourth and last thing to say before we start is we've kept the ticket price for this low because we felt it's better for you to pay what it's worth afterwards, and you can do so by clicking on a link set called easydonate.org Pers Dream, PRSDREEMAM. God, look in the chat and click on that, is probably safer. I shall shut up and hand you over to Persephone's dream.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Cockpit Theatre and the comfort of living rooms across the UK. Persephone is about to start dreaming, and the chorus of curious eyes are making their way to the screen. Please, make yourselves at home, doing so as silently and as invisibly as possible. You may close your eyes and keep hold of your blankets during the performance. And do please remember, unattended ice cream can make a mess.
at my mind. I never saw, I never noticed broken all doors are shut, all windows closed, all fears and ghosts. We chafe and crowd Look, there. The tile. That thread is caught. The page torn. Scratching at my mind. We chafe and crowd within.
Gardening advice has to be moderated by the weather. No two springs are ever the same, and the amount of shade, rainfall, and type of soil can all make a big difference.
Gardens are not made by singing, "Oh, how beautiful."
Although they do say that heaven is found in a wildflower.
Hello? Hello?
especially. Learn to play the cello. Are the tips still open? Mustn't forget to walk the dog. The dog. Stay home. Keep it. Don't rest. Avoid touching your face. This world is dangerous. Be wary of the invitation to sleep. Corners pinch like prying eyes. Too many walls in this dark and clap. Clean. Clean. Clap. Sing happy birthday. Sing happy birthday. Wave. I sing happy birthday Stay safe, 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 stay alert! Sing happy birthday! Sing happy birthday! Sing happy, happy, clap, happy, clap, cry, cry, clap, cry, happy, clap. Happy birthday!
Does life feel a bit more challenging than normal right now? Why not take a few moments just to be? Find the present. Be thankful for the weather. Take time to look around you. Breathe deeply. That's right. Get the air right down to the ends of your tippy toes. Slowly let go of all those anxious thoughts. Time to tend the garden, maybe.
And in the news today, people are advised that they may take up to 1 hour of exercise.
Mountains breathe. The wide seas sing again.
The public are permitted to leave their house once a day to run, cycle, or walk.
How clean the air.
People are advised to maintain a 2-metre distance at all times.
I will hold you in my arms. Gaze at your dawn and lie with you as you sleep.
And to refrain from visiting places of natural beauty.
If the dream is good, why wake? The earth has spun, replenishing herself. Though the night is gone, the garden is not the same. Oh, is it safe? Was it ever safe? Who will teach me to adapt? Am I still the keeper of rain? The earth has spun, replenishing herself. Though the dawn has come, the garden is not the same. It has become untamed, beautiful again. It has become untamed. Am I to blame? What if I remain all safe and sad within?
What a beautiful thing that is. Beautiful and funny thing, in fact. And it's extraordinary how something so poetic and meandering and abstract, but and yet so direct, can be the creation of quite so many people. But the core creator at the heart of it is definitely Tanya Holland Williams. I'll ask the panel in now, and we'll start with Tanya just saying where your donations will go to. Do then type in questions for everybody, and they will get passed on to me and passed on to them. Anyway, Tanya, are you there? Oh, she gone to get a cup of tea. Oh no! Oh dear, I've terrified her out of the room. How bizarre. Well, Sarah, you were. I went to a couple of very early stages of this, and something that fascinated me was you designing over Zoom. A thing I should add, actually, to make very clear to the audience out there now, is the chorus of curious eyes were live zooming in. So a lot of the work, early work, I think that we did was how can we be most creative with Zoom. Oh, Tanya, are you back? But we still can't hear you. Oh, you had a moment of being about to be unmuted.
There you
Try
go.
now.
There you go.
Okay, we'll go in reverse a bit. Tell us about the donations, Tanya.
So yeah, first of all, thank you everybody that's come this evening and everybody that supported us on Friday. It's hugely amazing to be able to be doing live work at this strange time. I think that the donation has just gone into the chat room. You've already supported, but this is a plea to encourage you to think about whether you might be able to support further both the work of Tete Festival and Persephone's Dream. Us as a sort of like collective, been working with Fat Lady Opera to create hopefully something magical, and we really want to extend it, work further with it, but to do that I need to be able to bring all the creatives back together to think about next steps, and the only way to do that ethically is to be able to give them some funds to come, and even if it's in a virtual way, be with us on Zoom. £1 is absolutely fine if that's, because we all know that straitened times are with us, but if you can give more, please do.
Okay, great. As I just asked Sarah a rather convoluted question while you were malfunctioning, let's do that and then come back to you. Oh no, and now you're muted, Sarah. I can't hear you. Dear, we're being really, really, really unlucky.
How about now?
Try again? Yeah, that's it.
Oh, sorry, I plugged my speakers in so I could hear it properly and beautifully rather than through my laptop.
Well, we're already showing the pitfalls of Zoom,
Yeah.
where most
Is
of this
my
work was
audio
created.
switched on?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I think it made me more organised as a designer. I tend to work a bit on the fly. As you know, you've worked with me quite a few times before. I think I've gotten much better actually at photographing things, organising my thoughts, because you have to present them in quite a concise and clear way over Zoom or what have you. I think it has helped a bit in some ways, the designing over Zoom.
So the challenges have pushed you, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. And we didn't quite get to that point of actually using it, but we were developing Snapchat lenses as well to kind of in some way dress the chorus of curious eyes without putting costume on them, but we never quite got to that point.
Wow, so you mean making your own filters?
Yeah.
Wow.
There is one called Persephone's Dream on Snapchat lenses.
Oh, I'll go and try it later. Okay, let's go back to Tanya now you're properly here. And because you're the root of it all, you're really the driver. Where did it all come from? Who is Persephone? Why her? What is her dream? How did it all turn into this?
You know, I did say to the whole team, keep your answers brief, Bill. You've just asked me the biggest question in the planet at the moment. Okay, I was on a walk. I was feeling very, very lonely, and yet I was surrounded by the most gorgeous, abundant life. And it struck me that I was feeling, this had nothing to do with Persephone at this point, but that I was in the world and out, but also feeling very out of the world. And then I had a couple of conversations with people, very close allies in the cultural world, about the need that we might have as a species, but also as different communities, to tell our stories. That how would we understand what was happening to us if we couldn't do it through stories? And I don't know where Persephone came from. At some point, she just popped into my head as this myth that lived in two worlds, and found it difficult to know, in my head anyway, which of the two worlds she should be in. All of which then came alongside this amazing thing about the planet taking a big breath of relief. And it struck me as rather ironic that Persephone and Demeter and all of these all of our heads around what we think we can do with our garden, both in a micro and in a macro way, it tend to just bugger it up. So
Yeah, and but I just stick with you for a minute, Tanya, about how this then became what it is and how all these people got threaded into it and the process that led to the end product. It is mind-boggling. I don't know if you can condense that into a short answer, but just tell us.
So for me, I knew there were some strong themes that I've just outlined. I also knew that I really wanted to not feel so alone in the process of creating in this particular time. And so the first thing was to just look around and go, who would be a great creative team? Dream team, that's what we became known as, or was the Persephone Dream Team. And everybody, and two other people I should mention, Wendy Dawes and Claire Foster, were part of that initial set of creative not networking days, I suppose creative exchange days, to just toss around a lot of ideas, tons of which we couldn't all pursue. We haven't got your surfboard, for example, Bill.
Yes.
Yet in the making, but we have. We've got the drafts board, and we've got quite a lot from those, the fodder of those days. And then it was about thinking as well. I mean, my work has always been about how to make sure that it's not just about accessibility, but also about finding pathways for people to engage in meaningful ways. So the chorus was one of the first things that became really important, how to animate a group that were used to singing together. In fact, actually this group has never sung together before, because two people live in Scotland and people live in Barking all over the place, but how to bring a group together that would normally be singing and give them the sort of experience that would make them feel like they might be knitted together.
Yeah, I mean, in a theatre, you can layer up visuals and sound and things in a marvellous way, in a way that you can't quite do in a film. So I'm not sure we did The Curious Eyes full justice, because they were full of detail all the way through. And if I've forgotten, I'll say it again, it's really important to know that they were live, they were interacting. I believe we've got a couple of them here. You could see, couldn't you, what was going on in the theatre?
Yes, can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we could. We couldn't see anything in the theatre at all. We were just at home in our own little areas. So we just
so you could...
on cues.
Oh, really? Really? That's interesting. Interesting choice. Now, it's also a bit mind-boggling, as if it wasn't complicated enough, to make a 30-minute show with three composers. Maybe one of our composers might tell us how that worked. That's very intriguing. Any volunteers? Kevin, how did that work?
I don't know really how it worked. Apart from it worked, I think we had lots of regular meetups online. We all gave ourselves different starting points for different songs, which worked really well. But I think all of us, I think I'm right in saying for Gavin and Anna as well, we all missed the acoustic space to be able to kind of hear things, and that we only heard all of it in a space right near the end of just a couple of weeks ago, actually. So it was very much a kind of regular kind of Zoom meetups, take it away, come back with another bit. So it was very much a kind of chipping away process. And all those ideas that we did in those first creative sessions, some of those sort of visualizations and sounds came into it, but it had a life of its own. It went off on different trajectories that we didn't predict.
Yes, it was like a painting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If you look at a master's painting and strip away the layers, there's tons of bits behind it, and every song, every piece, individual piece was recrafted, just adapted, slightly shifted, made longer, slower. It really evolved as the process went along, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing as well, how it was a piece using Zoom to perform while insisting on some live performance. I'm very happy to have it here because, of course, you know, from the manifesto onwards, I was making such a really hard push to get that interaction with the audience, and hurrah, we did. Now, Anna, you had a lot going on there because you wrote it and you were the only singer in the space, or in a way.
Yeah.
Claire, yes, that's true. That's true. I realised that as I was saying that and slightly sank into the floor. But anyway, how was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, looking back at the video, I realise that I was quite isolated, even during the show. I mean, physically, but sort of, I never saw the chorus behind me until just now. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, so it was lucky that, well, I saw a couple of rehearsal videos, but it didn't exactly link into what I was doing. And it was Tanya's great vision that managed to keep all of those different elements going and all working in the same direction. I experienced that as a composer, but also as a performer, that I just trusted that Tanya knew that the chorus were doing the right thing behind me and gave me the right instructions so that when it all got together, it sort of worked together. But it's quite an unusual way to work, and much like Sarah, we had to kind of get things to quite a level of perfection or finishedness when it comes to writing the score and actually learning the music. I had to do both of those things before I'd heard them played. So
Wow.
I only met Claire for the first time live a week before the show, and that was the first time I'd heard the music live as the composer, but also as the singer who'd had to already learn it without having heard the cello played. So you just had to trust in the process and in your own experience and in the experience of the rest of the group, and sort of trust it was going to all come together, which actually, I know I'm a bit biased, but I think it was quite convincing.
Yes.
I know it really came together. It was it was really remarkable because of having watched the rehearsal in the morning when I think you probably all left going, "Oh my God, look at the faces."
I spent 3 hours trying to work out how to get the chorus to be able to hear what was happening in the theatre.
How very peculiar. Yeah, you poor thing. So Claire, are you there? You're a very ghostly figure. I'm not quite sure whether you're actually there or not, but oh yeah, you are. How was it for you? Oh, you're muted. Will we get her back? Ben, can you unmute? Ah,
Thank you.
there you are.
I couldn't tell you that I could unmute myself. Can you ask me that question again, please, Bill?
Well, it was a very basic question, which is how was it for you? But you were definitely stepping way beyond the normal role of, MU cellist. That must have been fun.
It was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. I've worked with Tanya before, so I knew that there would be more asked of me than just playing the cello, and kind of relished it. Actually, it's really amazing, and I love Tanya's attention to detail and the trust that she puts in you, and so you begin to trust yourself and think, oh yeah, maybe I can talk in a northern accent convincingly a few times and sing while I'm playing the cello and move around and all of those things. So it's very exciting. It's lovely to be stretched.
Yeah, well, I think that's the genius of it, Tanya. I mean, other than the aptness and the meaningful of it right now, and as you say, telling our stories right now, was the amount of inputs that you had and the poeticism it came out with. It could still have that very free individual voice. Anyway, I believe I need to hand over to you, Tanya, for something that you'd better explain because I'll get it wrong.
Well, I've been doing a little bit of surreptitious typing, having seen the time. I've been giving you little questions to the audience. Obviously, we're still open to answer one or two final questions from the audience, but if you could also respond in your own ways to some of the questions that I've been posting. We've already got suggestions for the perfect bedtime story. We've got suggestions for the first line of a new bedtime, nighttime ritual story. And I've just asked, what do you want your dreams to be made of? So this is going to help us in the final couple of minutes. There's just two other things that I would like to say that I don't think the audience didn't quite see, but I just wanted to say there was a moment for me working with the chorus where we looked at the layering films. And I think they're still available, Janet, online somewhere. But we started to look at what we might be to ourselves in terms of a sister or an auntie or a child. And those layered films became something that were really important to me in terms of understanding some of the last few months. And I just also want to say that the other really intriguing thing has been the roles. We've already touched on them, but particularly for myself anyway, the role of working with Sarah about the sort of indistinguishable line between design and directing, and that's been wonderful. So I love all my team and I thank all my team, but particularly grateful to Sarah being gracious whenever I was stepping on her toes. So Kevin and I are about to do a little thing that is called Scary Story normally, but in the last couple of minutes, this is something that you can do. You can do it on your own, but it's sort of better if you've got somebody to do it with. And there's a convention to it that if one of you forgets or doesn't know what to say next, the convention is to say, and I don't know what happened next. Meantime, Kevin, we're going to tell everybody a bedtime story and then everybody knows what to do at the end. I must cue myself up. Hold on, first of all. Whoops. Right, okay. Just give me 1 sec to cue myself up, otherwise I won't be with the gang. I reckon we should go with Gregor's suggestion of cosmic horror as the genre. And I've got a first line and I'm going to take it away, Kevin. And can you see some of all the rest of the stuff? Yeah?
Yeah.
Great. Is everybody sitting comfortably? Once upon a pandemic, I found myself wandering along a slow, meandering river. I was alone on the boat, but all around me I could hear strange, unsettling sounds. And I don't know what happened next.
I know what happened next. The boat started swirling around in circles. The circles got faster and faster and faster. And then this huge purple mist came right over the top of me. And the boat got sucked down into the water. And I don't know what happened next.
Well, strangely, at the bottom of this deep and dark and lonely well of water, I found a red bear. And the red bear spoke to me. Thank you, Vic, I think it was, for that. And the red bear said, I don't know what you're doing here, but this is my patch of dark and lonely times. What are you doing here? And I don't know what happened next.
Well, I looked at the bear and I said, well, isn't this death in paradise? And the bear just looked puzzled at me. And I was telling him all about the other myths and mysteries about the deep ocean mysteries. And I think he got so overwhelmed and so tired, he started to fall asleep. And I don't know what happened next.
What happened next was I realised he had a beautiful purple pillow that he was lying on. So I snuggled down next to him and thought, it's the night before COVID. I may as well get a good night's sleep. And now we're just going to hear something beautiful from Anna and Claire to sign off.
Yeah, da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
Thank you, everybody.